Review if you were in 11th or 12th grade geometry for the congruency and transformation test. First thing was we're going to be looking at the types of congruency and proving if this is congruent or not. Best thing to do when you look over all your drawings, I'll have some of the same drawings on here, but the hatch marks will probably change. When you look over them, see if they're touching. Are they sharing a side? If they are, you mark that side. They're sharing that middle piece, you mark it yourself. Here's one, same thing. You put a double, triple, doesn't matter. Sharing a side, mark that piece yourself. Okay, and the other thing is if they're vertical angles, if they're touching and making vertical angles, like 7 right here, those are vertical to each other, put the vertical angle marks and angle marks on there so you know, you remember, those are angles and they will match. So that's everything that's touching. So now it should be a little bit easier. You have your choices. You have 5 to choose from, and if those don't work, then you write not. So when I look at one, the best thing to do is take your hand or something and cover up one of the triangles and just look at one of them. I covered up a little too much. But in this one, I see an angle in this corner. Okay, corners are the angles. I see an angle over here in this corner, and now mark the side in the middle. So I need to stop and think, do both of the triangles have those same markings? Okay, this marked over here is double and a double, single, single, and the middle is marked. All right, so 2 angles in a side. 2 angles in a side could be angle, angle, side, or angle, side, angle. You just got to decide, is the side marked between those 2 angles? And it is, and so that's a pretty easy one to spot. Angle, side, angle. If the angle had been, let's say here and here, here and here, those are the 2 angles, and this was the side, and you didn't have one over here, then that would be angle, angle, side. That would have been the other choice here, but it wasn't that. That first one was angle, side, angle. All right, next one, I see an angle. Okay, it's a right angle. So one thing, if it's a right angle, it could be hypotenuse leg. It's not guaranteed, but it could be that. So let's go check and see. If this is a right angle, is the hypotenuse marked? Yes, there it is. And it's on both of them, hypotenuse. And is one of the legs marked? Yeah, there's the leg, matching the leg. So if I got hypotenuse and leg, then I'm good to go. Now, when I come to this right triangle, look here, I don't have the hypotenuse marked. So that's going to be something different. We'll wait on that one. But whenever I got the right angle, let's check. I had this one marked already for the side. These sides were marked because they were shared. But here's my right angle. Is the hypotenuse marked? Yeah. Hypotenuse over here, yeah. And is one of the legs, yeah, they share that leg, so that's another HL. HL and HL. Like I said, they'll be mixed up. You might see some of the same drawings, but watch for the markings. If you don't see the markings, don't just assume that that's what it is from last time. All right, so number 3, we've marked the middle already. So now we see this is a side, this is a side, and this is a side that they share. 3 sides. Is it marked on the other one? Yeah, it's kind of light, but it's there. All right, I tried to make them darker on your test. So side, side, side. No angles. Oops, sorry. No angles at all. So the corners will be the angles, and there's nothing in the corners you don't know about. But side, side, side is enough to say these are congruent triangles. All right. Number 5. We said we don't have a hypotenuse, so we can't do hypotenuse leg on this one, but we do have some other stuff. This is still an angle. These are still 2 right angles, and this side in the middle, they're sharing the side, and then up here is another angle. So cover up one. Remember, it's the trick. If you start putting everything you see on here, you're going to have all kinds of letters. That's why I say cover up one triangle and say, what do I see on here? An angle and a side and an angle. That's 2 angles, and one side is the side between them, angle, side, angle, or is it not between them? And so that one is angle, side, angle. All right, number 6, here's some angles. Here's a side, here's an angle. Quick glance might think angle, side, angle, but look at this one. That one's angle, that one's an angle. Is that one angle, side, angle? No, they're not in the same spot, so they do not match. You will have some knots on your test, so be careful. Right here, I got the angles because of vertical. Here's an angle, here's an angle, here's a side. Is that side between those two angles? Nope. Over here, angle, angle, side, not between them. So that's A, S. Angle, angle, side. Alright, and then finally down here we've got a side here and a side here, and the angle, is it up there in that corner where they touch? Yeah. Angle, side, angle. Check the other one, make sure it's the same thing. Side, wait, side, angle, side. I said it wrong. Side, angle, side. And the angle is in between. So take your time with those. Don't forget to mark it yourself. Alright, next you're going to have to basically draw it and then list the points out where it ends up. So best thing to do, read your directions. You're going to reflect it across the x-axis. So x is going to be the mirror right there. And then you're going to list the coordinates. So where would A prime, B prime, and C prime end up? So C is here. Best thing to do is say, hey, one space away from the line, right? Jump across, one space away right there. Now what place is that? You got to know your coordinates. You got to know how to count. Go back to the origin. It's going back 4 and down 1. So C is -4, -1. And the only thing that should change, since it's going across the x-axis, the only thing that changes is the sign of the y. Look at C originally. C had -4, +1, and so the sign of the y part was the only thing that changed. +1 became -1. But it's really just counting. When I look at A, going to the mirror, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So I'm going to jump across the mirror, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. A prime would end up way down here. What location is that? Go back to the origin. X is first, back, what is it, 7, and then down 5. So -7, -5. All right, B, you're going to go over 2, wait, sorry. You're just going to say straight down to the mirror. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to come down 6 spaces right there. And so B would be -6. Oh, sorry, I did it backwards. It would be -3, -6. Okay, the X part first. When you're labeling the points, you do your X and then your Y. So go back to the origin. It's going back 3 and down 6 to get to B. And then draw your picture. Okay, but you do have to put these in the blank over on the side. You gotta be accurate. Okay, does it look like a reflection? You can turn your head sideways and look at it if you weren't sure. It should look like it's reflected in the mirror. You don't have to have all these little bulky lines here, like that and that. Just have to have that reflection. Alright, then finally you got 4 problems dealing with transformations, and they're already going to be on here for you. The graphs are already on there. You see all 4 of them. But I want you to learn just focus on one at a time. So the first one, X, Y, Z, that's the original. And what do we call the original? You know it's not a reflection, rotation, translation, rotation. It is a pre-image. The original is a pre-image. Okay? The copy is the image. So if I said what was X, Y, Z, just with the primes, if I said it like that, that would have been a copy of it. So that would have been an image of the original. But the original is the pre-image. Alright, next. Looking at X, Y, Z prime, the one that's got 1 mark. And so when you see these over here, they just have 1. So don't get all frustrated and look at it all over at one time. I'm going from here to here. So how did it get there? Did it just slide over? It could have. Let's see. That way, slid over, X is there, Y slide over, or did it reflect? So you have to stop and think. If I did a reflection, it's like it flipped. So Z would, like just on the last problem, 1, 2, 3 spaces away. Is Z 1, 2, 3 places away? No. So that's not a reflection. So that don't get confused and put the wrong thing. What's happening? It's just sliding over. So how much is it sliding? Let's see. Go from X to X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 10 total across. And it didn't go up. If I had moved it up, like up to here, you might have gone over 10 and then up 2 more. And it could have been 10 and 2. Just depending on which test you get, you might have one where it moves different ways. But we did those in class. So, translation, so that would be answer C. That's how it got moved. It moved over 10, sideways 10, and up 0. Okay. All right, next we're going to cover that one up and go to the second prime, double prime. So, what happened from Y to Y, Z to Z? That looks like what we were doing just a minute ago. 1, 2, 1, 2. There's your Y. 1, 2, 1, 2. There's your Z. So that looks like a reflection. Which line did it reflect across? X or Y? It reflected across the X axis. Remember, that's the X. X would be the mirror. So that would be answer A. Oh, number 12 was F. All right, then going back. The last one, what's happening in the third one? Now, it may not be, the same exact order. You got to really look closely at what's happening. It could be in any order. I could have any parts in any order. I could have had the reflection first. All right, so the triple prime, Z going to Z, Y going to Y. Looks like something happened. It's turned. We can see it turns, so it could be a clockwise or this says counterclockwise, 2cc. Counterclockwise rotation of 90 degrees. So 90 degrees would put it like counterclockwise. That'd go down like this. So that would have been in this area. Okay, remember with a clockwise, with a rotation, you switch the numbers around or do stuff. There's a rule for 180. There's a different rule for 90. If you did a rotation with 90, you're going to switch around the X and Y. So it would be Y and X. And you're going to change the sign of your Y, your original Y. So if I had done a 90 from this original, I'll cover it back up. There. If I had done a 90 from that and made it come down here, then that means the Y was like I can't even see it, probably about 7, -7, 2 is where it was. So if I flipped them around, 2, -7, and changed the sign of that original Y, my new Y would have been at back 2 and down 7. It would have been way down here if it had been a 90 degree. One section is 90. But the one we were looking at was, now it won't go back. We'll have to see. Well, it won't go back to the graph now. So we'll just go back and look at it like this. It was here, and Y was here, and Z was here, and you ended up, it was a 180. And so the only thing you have to do on a 180 is change the signs. So if Y is at -7, 2, change both the signs, it ends up at +7, -2. And so if you look at it on your graph, it's going to go over 7 and down 2 to be about right there. 7 over down 2. That's your Y to the prime. If Z was at -2, 2, change both the signs. It's going to be at +2, -2. Over 2, down 2, about right there. And that's triple. All right. So that will be your answer. That is a 180 when it went that far around. That's halfway around graph anyway. And it didn't matter if it was clockwise or counterclockwise, it's still 180 would have ended up over here. Each box is 90, so 90 and another 90, that's 180. All right, and that's your test. Good luck.